Hi guys, welcome back. In our previous video, we discussed why we need to do business case and some of the components that we need to work on as part of business case or due diligence before projects are approved. And one of the first components that we discussed was costs. In this video, we'll be discussing costs in a bit more detail. From my experience, I've noticed that companies either totally ignore cost or they make decisions purely based on cost. My recommendation is to actually hit middle ground, to not ignore cost, to consider cost, but not make decisions purely based on cost, to make decisions based on cost, but also other factors as well. So middle ground is my recommendation. And one of the reasons I found that people ignored costs or they only took partial costs into consideration when making business decisions was because there was insufficient information available because of the systems and processes. Or there was a total lack of information available because of systems and processes again, and it was nightmare to actually work out the costs. So yeah, and that's one of the things that you may want to think about or work on if you're a business leader or a business owner. What kind of systems and processes you want to implement in your company or organization so that people in your company are able to easily extract or gather the true costs of the product or service they want to build or amend so that they can make decisions, they can make informed decisions. And I think this would put your company in a really strong position in the market. So, systems and processes that would help your company to actually extract costs very easily. Very important, I think. The third thing I really want to highlight is standard costing. I've noticed that some companies use standard costing in their projects, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense using standard costing in many contexts. From what I have seen, mostly in the technology industry and in the healthcare industry, where people have written up contracts and the cost of consumables is pretty much fixed. So I think standard costing didn't really make much sense in that context. But of course, there are other contexts where standard costing makes sense. For example, in the cheese industry, the imagine you're a pizzeria network and you have to actually figure out the cost of cheese. It's a nightmare because the cost of cheese goes up and down on a daily basis. Today it could be up, tomorrow it could be down. It's a bit like the stock market. So in that scenario, what people would do is people would put a fixed cost against the cheese and then they would track the variance separately. But if you're using standard costing in your projects or company, you may want to have a very good think about, or you may want to have a very good reason why you're doing standard costing, not just because this is how it's done. And that's not a good enough reason. So think about that standard costing, why you're doing it if you're doing it. Now, when we do costing for business, when we do costing as part of business cases for projects, I would usually do three different scenarios, costing models for three different scenarios: do nothing, do minimal, and do something. Do nothing is basically you do not do anything, let things be as is. And and you may wonder, why do we need to do costings for do nothing? Because there would be some cost even if you don't do anything. Let's let's take the example of an automation of results entry into a software project. The project is about automating the entry of results into software. Imagine you didn't do this project. What if you didn't do this project? Somebody would have to manually enter the results into the software. It could be somebody in your data entry team. So there would be some direct cost to the company. Or let's assume that you probably got one of your receptionists to actually enter the results into the software. So there would be an indirect cost to the company. So costs for do nothing scenario, also very important. Do minimal. Do minimal is basically like a band-aid fix to the problem on hand or your customer need. It's doing basically just the bare minimum to get you over the line and make do. So cost for do minimal. And then finally, cost for do something. Do something is basically what I call the ideal scenario. It's a bit more complicated than just doing the bare minimum. So you may want to work out the cost for do something as well. And finally, in our next video, we'll be talking about in a bit more detail about all the different elements that go into actually putting a detailed cost for a project, like CapEx, OpEx, and then cost towards risks, etc. Please watch my next video if you're really interested to know how to put a detailed cost model for projects. And if you like what you've seen in this video, please feel free to hit like, share this video, or even post some comments below. Thanks for watching and have fun running your business. Thank you.